Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here and hopefully can give you a few tips and tricks for the features that Business Central has been developing and has recently released. I wanted to show you some of these tips and tricks today. We'll go through the Role Explorer, that is a product that for people that have been using traditional nav is the Departments button, and the Explore All, which shows you kind of the campus map of what's available to you in the Business Central application. Some of the other features that they've come out with here in October is multitasking across multiple pages and the ability to save personal lists to your role center. So with that, I want to take and show you the Business Central application. And this is the newest release. We're just in a Cronus database, but first up as a feature that they've had is this menu bar, which is Explore All. And so as your RoleTailer client screen, which says that you're in this Cronus database, and when you want to click on this, it will bring in all of the menus that are available to you as a business manager. And if you're interested in what features are available in all of the sites within Business Central, if you click Explore All, it will give you the application across all of the sites and functionalities that you have access to. If you wanted to click on one, which let's just say we wanted to go to purchasing, we can go to the purchasing menu, and with that you can see all of the features that are there. When they're grayed out, they're features that you do not have access to. And so I'm a super user, so most of the applications are available to me. But what you'll see is your limitations according to your profile and how it's been set up for you, the user. To get back to the main RoleTailer client, you just click on the company twice. And so left click, and that brings you back to your main center page. Another feature that they've added is a list and view page up here that are your favorites. Folks that were in the Vision used to have a home screen, and that home screen was on the left-hand side and had certain key screens that you wanted to save. This is no different. I have on here an item screen, and so if I wanted to click that, it would bring me to the item list page. The way that you save these is over here. It looks like a little ribbon, but when you save this, it says that it's been saved to your role center. Okay, and with that, I want to click back and head back here to my main screen. Today I wanted to kind of go through, let me get back to the PowerPoint presentation, some of the areas that are new and maybe a little bit different from the purchasing that you're used to. We'll kind of go through just a traditional purchase order this morning, and what I'll do is I'll start showing you the way that you can enter some purchase orders from different main screens. Microsoft is really trying to help you to have a one-stop look and feel, and so I'll take you to the vendor main screen and show how you can enter an invoice, you can enter a purchase order, credit memo, and then what I'll do next is we'll show what it is to enter a fixed asset, not only to purchase the asset, but to actually enter some maintenance cost against that and track that. So without further ado, let me get into the system and let's go ahead and try to enter a purchase order here. Okay, and so from this main screen, what I want to do is I want to click on our Tell Me button, and what you can do is you can type in purchase order, and by doing that you can narrow down your focus to just this main task that you want to do. Before this version of Business Central, that is how you navigated around the system, was through the Tell Me button. Now having the Explorer feature sure makes that quite nice. So let's enter a new purchase order. We're going to click New, and the vendor number. And if you don't know the number of the vendor, you can look it up, or you can start typing. So I wanted to see London Postmaster. So another feature that they have brought through Nav is you used to have the ability to type in the number alpha character according to the number field, or if you wanted to do it according to the description or the name, you had to click over here to the name. What you see that I did was started typing, and it narrowed that list according to the name, so it's looking across both of those fields as a key area. So now that I found London Postmaster, enter that, and what we're going to do is come down and we're going to enter an item, and from that it's going to be, let's say we're going to look up for a battery case. Okay, there's a slim battery. Click on that, and you can tab over to the location you want it to be received into, and let's say it's going to be the blue warehouse, and tab. No bin locations turned on at this point, but let's say that we're going to receive 3 of them, and it brings in the unit cost according to what is set up for a vendor pricing for this. So that's another feature I will show you here in a little bit. At this point, the system is ready to execute, and you can see that the quantity to receive is set and the quantity to invoice is also set. So these are stepping stones in micro steps. First, it sets up the system to receive it. Once you receive out in the warehouse, it will now move the quantity from quantity to receive to quantity received. Same thing when it comes to the invoicing side. It's set up here, and once it's truly invoiced, it will come over and default to this area. Okay, the only other thing we need to do at this point is put in the vendor invoice number. So let's just put in a number. And if I have an attachment, I can come out here and I can click on the file, select the file, and automatically tie that to this purchase order. So that's quite helpful in making poke-yoke the process so that you don't mistake proof it, so that it helps you make certain that you have the PO and you would have the invoice if that's already coming in, and you can attach that. So at this point it's ready to hit release, and so release it is. You can see the status has now been reflected to release, and now we would hit post. And it's going to ask you for a choice, receive only, invoice only, or receive an invoice. At this point we're going to go ahead and receive an invoice. And we could look at that posted invoice, but let's just say no. Okay, so that's one method of entering a purchase order, but a faster method would be to click on the vendor, and that's going to bring you to the vendor list. You're going to be able to select the vendor that you want to work with, and now it starts to tell you all kinds of features that Microsoft is trying to roll into a one-stop shop. They're trying to give you all kinds of information about the address, the picture of the person, the outstanding balance that they have, orders that are outstanding, invoices that are due and overdue. Right now you can see there's 296,000 total. Right now some of them are outstanding and some are actually been received. So what you're seeing here is a difference of the dates that was actually being posted. So today I'm on 10/30, and you can see some of these invoices that were brought through. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter now again a purchase order. So that's a feature that's available to us through vendors is now to click on a new document, and we're going to do a purchase invoice. The difference is, let's say that we're accounts payable department. We don't issue a purchase order. Somebody out there went and purchased a maintenance item. At this point, it's been brought back in, and we're just entering the invoice so that we can pay that. Okay, purchase invoice. And it's going to bring that in. It's going to ask for a feature that they've been looking to do for quite a while, and they've done that since the April version of the Business Central in the cloud, is they've had the asterisks here to highlight what's required fields to be entered. So an invoice has to be entered. So INV 321. Okay, and with that item, and we're going to come over and we're going to click on the item, and we're going to start typing, and we're going to put in a battery case. Okay, it fills in the description, location, same. It came into the blue. We had one of them, and it defaulted again to a unit cost of $23.50. If that's different than what has been brought in on the invoice and what's showing, then you should actually have that, being defaulted into a vendor item pricing list so that you can minimize any of the mispricing. Okay, so at this point, you would click release and post. Okay, and again, it's been posted now. Do you want to look at it? We can. And you can see that one item has been invoiced. And so there is a $2,350. The unit price was set up at $4,000, but we only got invoiced $2,350. So that's reflective of that. Okay, some of the key features that I wanted to bring to your attention so that you can kind of mistake-proof in the purchasing modules. One of them is set up work dates. The idea behind this is that with the user setup work date, there's been times in past companies where they would enter a new date, and that date would be for a date into the future instead of being today's date. So what you do is you allow that user limitation to enter purchase orders from today through maybe the end of the month. At the worst, it would be the end of the year, and minimizing anything that would happen from a user's just fat fingering a date in, and all of a sudden it puts it across fiscal calendars and into a different period. And that kind of mistakes proofs that. The other is using the vendor and the vendor item and vendor pricing setup. So I'll show you that next. Okay, so back to the Business Central, and we're going to go back to the home screen here, and I'm going to use the Tell Me screen, user setup, and with that, it's going to tell me what I'm allowed to post. So right now, I say that I'm allowed to post from 1/1/2019 through 2/1/2021. We want to change that to be, let's just say, the end of November. And so what you've minimized there is the potential of going across calendar years. Now, that feature said you're going to have to take responsibility that the users will get locked out on the 1st of December, and you'll have to go in and change this allowed posting. But it does help you prevent what is across out of tolerance year dates that are put in just by accident. Okay, so now that we've done this, what I wanted to show you is, let's go into an item, and let's look up the item bat case. And in bat case, what we have is there's an actions, and when you come to items, you can enter variants, you can enter a multitude of different things, but what I wanted to show you today is how you can enter vendors, and then from that vendor you can also enter lead time and the price. All right, so that's the London Postmaster. Good, that's set up. And from here, now I'm going to click in. Once that link is done, now I can come in and do purchase pricing. Okay, so at this point for this bat case, we have a minimum of 2. It's not precluding. You could see that on my last invoice, I did an invoice quantity of 1. Well, that's not set up in here. So to set that and make certain that we do have that pricing structure set up, put in each and 1, and that was $23.50. And it's asking for a start date so that if prices change throughout the year, you can always go back and alter that. But the nice thing is, once it's in here, you will, I changed this to $23.50, not $2.35. So 01/01/19. Okay, and so what's happening now is you have a vendor associated, you have a vendor item that's associated. Instead of it just being called bat case, I can also call that another item according to what the vendor wants. And I also have the direct unit cost, what they have said is the price for this product. Okay, and so in here you can see I've put in what the vendor is calling a case iPad for the bat case that we call it out in our inventory. And there's a 2-day lead time. Okay, once you have this set up, we can come back to vendors, and at this point we can pick on London Postmaster again, and let's say that this time what I wanted to show you is, let's go in and do a new purchase order. Sorry, new documents, purchase order. And let's see if a couple of these features will come to life for us. So the first thing is the due date. Let's put that in as 12/12/2021. And what we wanted to do here is put in an invoice, and the order date is 12/12/21. And let's go down here and pick out that. Pick out the bat case, and blue for the location. And let's put in 1, and let's see what the price brings in, $23.50. If I change that to 2, let's go back and delete this line, and let's put that back in as the item bat case. Okay, and location is blue, and let's put in 2, and it kept the direct unit cost at $23.50. Let's try one more at 4, and it keeps that same pricing. Okay. The next we wanted to do is let's go and try to do a purchase of a fixed asset. We're running low on time, but let me show you what it would be to enter a fixed asset. Fixed assets, the newest feature here is the ability to enter an acquiring of this a new fixed asset from the main asset screen itself. And before, you would have to set up this card, which let's just call it a Ford F-350, and the fixed asset class was tangible, and the subclass, let's pick a car, put in the serial number. Of course, you can attach a picture. Let's do that. Okay, and at this point, you can decide when do you want the depreciation to start. So the 1st of November. It's going to ask you for how many depreciation years. Let's say 4. It's going to split that out, and it says that you're now ready to acquire this fixed asset. This is a new feature that's here. When you click acquire, it's going to take you through a wizard that's going to step you through the acquisition process. And so it's going to ask you for the price, let's say $75,000, and you acquired it on the 30th. You're posting it to the GL, and it's going to want to know what bank account you're getting it from. Okay, we're paying it out of cash, and at this point, it's now been acquired. And so it's just that simple. Before, we would have to go out, do the purchase order, come back into here, apply that purchase order to this fixed asset. It's a really helpful trick that they've now come up with, trying to make that come from every main screen. There's quite a few features here yet that I would like to show you today, but we're running short on time. Sure appreciate your time and listening, and if we have any questions, Brad?
Hey, thanks, Lynn. No, we don't have any questions at this time, but was there anything that you did want to add before we wrap up?
No, if you have questions or you would like to get in contact with Turnkey Technologies, we're always available to answer any of your questions, and we'd love to be help for you working on the Business Central solution.
Okay, great. And then, Lynn, if you want to go to that final slide in your PowerPoint, I just want to draw everybody's attention to our offer for a free ERP Fit Gap Assessment. So some of you may already be using Business Central on this webinar, but if you're not and you're considering it for your organization, perhaps you're moving off of QuickBooks or some sort of limited accounting solution, we do offer a complimentary Fit Gap Assessment, which is a 1-hour, no charge, no obligation, remote consultation with one of our specialists where we can quickly validate Dynamics 365 for your short-term and long-term goals.